Good evening, everybody. It's so good to see you. It's been a long time since we've been together as a group, and even though it's on Zoom, it's really nice to see your faces. I know that there are lots of questions, worries, concerns, and possibly confusion. I hope that by addressing the questions you have submitted prior to this meeting and including the information that we would like for you to have, you will be able to feel a bit more confident, somewhat relaxed, and ready to begin the school year. If after this presentation you still have more questions or need more clarity, feel free to email me or call. I would like to take a moment to thank Carolyn Stone and Alana Martin for serving as co-presidents for the CJDS board over the past 2 years. Carolyn, Alana, I know you never imagined that your tenure would end on this note. You were both there for the school and for us in every way we needed. It's impossible to truly express our thanks for your time, devotion, and commitment. Please know how much we appreciate all of your efforts. On that note, I would like to now introduce our new president of the board, Stacy Gorelick. Stacy has a long history with the school. All 4 of her children graduated from CJDS, and she never stopped caring, worrying, and contributing in any way possible. In fact, most people know not to mention CJDS in her presence, because then they would have to listen for a length of time how great CJDS is and why there's no better school for Jewish children. I'd like to ask Stacy to say a few words and to get the 2021 school year started with optimism, passion, and excitement.
Thank you, Mariashi. This really is very exciting to see all of your faces. When I accepted the job of board president, I never could have imagined what I was in for. And yet, I am so happy to be serving in this role. I've had 4 children who graduated from CJDS, which means that I was a parent for 14 years. I know how lucky you all are to have this incredible school for your children. To returning families, welcome back. This year will definitely look very different, but I promise you that the reasons you chose CJDS still remain. The commitment to individualized learning, to academic excellence, to studying Judaism, Hebrew, and learning Jewish values are strong as ever. To our new families, lucky you. You are beginning an incredible journey with your children. You will soon realize how wise you are to have chosen this outstanding school. Each year, you entrust Mariashi and the staff with your children. This year, they will be asking you for trust. In order for the school to remain open, we must all commit to keeping our children healthy. We're asking you to do everything you can to ensure that. We're asking you to be flexible, to understand that things can and probably will change, to know that the health and well-being of your children is the most important thing. I've served on the reopening task force, which was put in place in April. Mariashi, Gail, and the rest of the group have spent countless hours researching how we can make this year as normal and as safe as possible. I'd hoped to be meeting you and seeing you throughout the first weeks of school. I'm glad to be here virtually tonight. The last thing I'll say is that please reach out to me if there's anything I can do to make this year successful for you and your children. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, for the courage you have to take on our school during this crazy time. We know that this time is going to present new challenges, whether it's figuring out how to have children, not to mention teachers, wear masks all day, or dissuading hugs and encouraging high fives. The bottom line is that this year is going to look different. We can either dread it or embrace it, and we are choosing to embrace it. Unless you're willing to stay here for another few hours, I can't possibly include all of the what ifs. We will continue to email you and give you handouts throughout this time to fill in all of the blanks. And now, before I begin answering the questions that you sent in, I know that you have no way of knowing what is going on in our world, and I would like to share some of that with you. Preparing for the school year has been a ginormous task, and my administration has put in crazy hours at a superhuman pace. While the benefits of a small school are that we can pivot much more easily than the larger schools, and that we aren't subject to bureaucracy and red tape, we have a much leaner staff and limited resources. It is important that you, as our parents and partners at the school, recognize that even though you, as you should be, are focused on your children or children and their needs, keep us in mind. We cannot do this without understanding, patience, awareness of the times we are living, and recognition of the obstacles that are in our way every step we take. I want to thank the parents who've expressed strong support, faith, and confidence in us. Your kind words are so appreciated, more than you'll ever know. We are fortunate that we are here, though, and have the opportunity for in-school learning, that we have the financial resources, the access to medical advice, the continued excellent attention to classroom instruction and curriculum, and the relentless dedication of the staff and our task force. We will be requiring all families to sign a pledge, which will state that they are partnering with the school to help mitigate the risks of the virus and to help keep the school open. CJDS efforts will only go so far if families are committed to limiting the spread. Keeping kids home if exhibiting symptoms, limiting outside of school exposure, developing a mask endurance for children before school starts, including trying different masks and getting one that fits well, and doing so in ample time before school begins if you haven't already, and modeling social distancing behavior as a family when not at school. It is in everyone's best interest to support the steps we are taking for multiple reasons. In addition to our concern for those that are immunocompromised or have health issues, it will be inordinately difficult for everyone, you the parents and us the school, if we have to close down pods or even the whole school. We all want the students to be in school as much as possible, and that means we all are vigilant inside the school building and in the hours after school, at home and on weekends. Now that my therapy session's over, let me start by sharing what we are doing. I'm actually very proud of what we have accomplished, and as much as in my power, believe that our plan is as safe and healthy as one can expect when leaving the house. We started out with a few guiding principles. Number one, limit the possibility for the virus to spread. Adopt as many guidelines issued by the state and national health departments and our medical advisors as possible and follow them with fidelity. Number two, in recognition of the difficulty and stress of continuing remote learning for many of our families, we're committed to look for every opportunity to allow for all of the students to return to the school building for as many days of the school year as possible. Number three, research and explore any possible way to engage the children in this new, strange, and often restrictive environment. Find opportunities to bolster the social and emotional learning for our students. And number four, prepare the children for remote learning in case the governor issues another stay-at-home order. Therefore, we assessed our classrooms and building and the space we have. We identified exactly how many children we would be able to fit in each room with 6 feet distance and accepted the amount of new children that could fit into this parameter. I know that there has been worry that since we accepted so many children, we might compromise the safety of the environment. Please know that we would never do that. All humans in the building will need to wear masks, unless they are in a private room or at least 10 to 15 feet apart. That would usually happen if we have a meeting with 3 people and we can all go to opposite ends of the room. Children will be given mini breaks to take off their masks in their seats. We were asked if the children could possibly wear shields while at their desks, and we posed this question to our medical team. Right now, they're advising against it. We originally planned to let them take off their masks whenever in their seats or outside, but as the numbers started to go up, we went back to requiring masks all the time. We will be constantly reevaluating. Please begin practice mask wearing endurance for the next few weeks so that the students will be prepared to mask up all day. We have put no requirements on the type of mask the children and teachers have to wear, understanding that each of us has a mask that works best for our face. However, we have shields for any teacher that wishes to add it to their mask. We are also exploring and investigating the see-through mask so that communication between teacher and student will be clearer. All of our groups number between 8 and 12 students. For example, if there are 24 students in the 2nd grade, there will be 2 groups of 12 students. Our 4th grade has 13 students, so they will not be divided into 2 groups, especially that 4 of the students in this grade are choosing remote learning. The class groups will not be interacting at all with any other group. Children from the same family in the same age group will be placed in the same pod. They will eat lunch in their classroom, go outside to play separately, and will not be sharing equipment games with any other group. Within the pod, although they will have their own supplies, there may be some games or equipment they will share. and we will have them sanitize their hands before and after as an added protection. There will be scheduled hand sanitizing and washing several times throughout the day. Each child will have their own bottle of hand sanitizer on their desk, and this will help limit the contact and opportunity for high contact areas. A bathroom procedure will be implemented to limit the number of children in the bathroom at one time. We have some individual bathrooms in our classrooms, and that will also help us limit the number of children using the main bathrooms. Lockers are not going to be used this year to limit hallway congestion. Each student will receive a crate that will sit under their desk or table, and we are also putting on seat packs on the backs of their seats. Morning drop-off will be slower and longer as we will be doing health checks in the car. We will also be controlling the volume of children going into the school building at one time. Each class will be assigned a specific stairwell to use, limiting congestion on the stairs also. The children will stay in their classrooms for dismissal and will be radioed to come out when your car is at the loading station. That will also help contain the quantity of children on each stairwell, as well as the lobby. Please note that morning drop-off and afternoon dismissal will take time. Plan ahead for that eventuality. Lunch will be eaten in the classroom, and if lunch is ordered, it will be delivered to the classroom. We are purchasing canopy tents to put up in the courtyard outside Learner Hall to provide outdoor classroom space as well as additional outdoor play space. CDC does not require that we sanitize playground equipment between uses, but recommends everyone sanitize their hands before going out and when coming back in. Early care for kindergarten is still available at 7:30 and will also take place in the cafeteria along with an extended hour study hall for all students this year in grades K to 5. It's important that this will be, to note though, it will be a mix of various pods in the school. And aftercare and pre-care will be in the cafeteria. We are providing personal devices and headphones for each student. Grades K to 2 will be receiving iPads and grades 3 to 5 will get Chromebooks. Art will take place in their classrooms. We are scheduling art similar to last year in a cluster of approximately 30 days. Technology is being taught 2 days a week. It's going to be a more intense program to help us prepare the students for the eventuality of remote learning. PE will take place once a week for everyone. We have chosen activities that will lend itself to personal equipment or at least personal equipment for each pod. Music will take place in the classroom. It will have a new curriculum, one without singing or shared instruments. After all is said and done, we need to all understand that there might and will be cases of COVID-19. It should not be a shock to anybody. When you make your decision to send your children to school in the building, you must prepare yourself for that possibility. Tuition is another question on everyone's mind because we are used to paying for a product and receiving that product in return. Some families feel that remote learning does not have the same value as in class. I would agree with that. And therefore, we're often asked if tuition payments can be withheld. As much as I hate to have to say this, it can't. We are keeping our commitment to the teachers to continue their salary because they are still working and working harder. We also need to keep our teachers for the day when we can come back. It is our investment. And if families stop paying tuition, we will have nothing to come back to. In addition, we have incurred enormous expense to procure individual electronics and supplies for each child, upgrading the cleaning protocol for the entire building, acquiring storage for the items that we no longer have space for due to the need of social distancing and operating under the new reality of COVID is far more expensive than our usual model. We also need to keep in mind that tuition never covered all of the costs. And thanks to the annual fund, CJDS was able to pivot so quickly to remote learning this year, as well as allowing us to open our doors hopefully this August. We are in the middle of clarifying exactly how virtual learning will work for those that have chosen that path. This is not the right forum for me to share the plan because, surprise, surprise, the plan is differentiated for both students and teachers. As Mandy and I were planning for the virtual learning, we started to analyze each child that was choosing this form of school and started to plan how it would be provided based on the children, their academic and social needs, and their family's ability to support them. So the answer is that we are going to have many different approaches, and we will be contacting each family individually. However, according to our research and understanding, There is no way that this will not require parental assistance for kindergartners, first graders, and second graders, and even some third graders. It's pretty evident that, and we weren't shocked last spring, that the young child most of the time cannot navigate this alone. Some will pick it up quickly and will be able to do more than even we expect, but some will not. I wish we could fulfill your wishes to engage your children for a specific amount of time, like a school day, but it's not realistically possible, and it's not recommended for the elementary age child either. For elementary school, remote learning is not even second best, but during these times, it's all that we have. I can assure you that we are doing everything within our power and beyond to meet your needs. At this time, approximately 10% of our student body will be in remote learning. We will allow parents to change their choice at the end of each trimester. Mandy and I are happy to have offline conversations with you individually if you have questions about this learning option. We were asked to consider hybrid learning since the COVID spread numbers are too high. We do not see hybrid learning as a solution for the heightened health fears. Once it's hybrid, the students will still be coming to school at some point, and we don't see our setup as being any more risky than that. The only setup that would be totally risk-free is remote learning. A hybrid learning model is suggested when schools cannot meet the recommended guidelines. Understand that as a small school, if we can have students 6 feet apart in the classroom and wearing masks, we believe that in-school learning is best for the students, not only academically, but more importantly in this time for social and emotional support. And based on the many emails and phone calls, the support of our parents as well. I've received questions about what we are going to do in case of a COVID diagnosis, suspicion, or symptoms. That would take another Zoom call. We have created a guide which includes our protocol based on CDC, North Carolina Department of Health, and our medical advisors. After calling the family to pick up their child or asking the child not to come to school, our first call will be to the health department, and they will guide us further. For now, if there is a COVID diagnosis, the pod will be sent home to quarantine for 14 days. If it is a teacher, we will assess if they were near any student more than 15 minutes, less than 6 feet per CDC guidelines. The teachers are all going to make every effort to keep their distance for any period longer than 15 minutes. This will help limit the number of pods that would have to go home. We will notify the school when a pod is sent home. Our understanding is, and of course, we will be asking the health department each time, that a pod with siblings of the said pod will not be sent home. I like to describe it as second generation. However, siblings of any child deemed necessary to go home or not to come to school need to stay home too. Per our medical advisor's recommendation, we are not requiring a negative test. They will report when they received a positive test and count 14 days at a minimum, as long as it is 10 days since their symptoms started and at least 3 days since their symptoms stopped. Fair share is being waived for this year. For the new parents here, fair share is a volunteer hour requirement at our school. However, we are asking each family to pick up a few packs of Lysol wipes. They're not selling it in bulk, so we have not been able to get them. We have been informed by Shalom Park that our building has a HEPA equivalent filter with significant fresh air turnover. Over the course of the summer, we received several calls from parents inquiring about our study hall. Yes, we will have study hall this year, open to the entire school, not just 2 to 5, but K to 2 also, K to 5. Of course, study hall for K2 will look much different and have age-appropriate activities for the younger students. We believe that this allows you to limit the outside exposure for your children and still get an additional hour of work. We hear the concerns from you and your desire to keep your children safe, yet the need to fulfill your responsibilities at work and in the home. So we hope that the new study hall will meet many of your needs. Sign up for study hall will begin on Wednesday and be on the website. We are all in this together. As always, our focus is on your children. But as I close, I am reminded of a note that I received from a parent recently about the need for all of us, the administration, the teachers, and staff, and you, our parents, to be patient and respectful through all of this. There's no guidebook for these days. Beware of the bandwagons on social media and the messages posted, and think twice about what you might post. Our teachers have your child's best interests in mind. As a school, we want to mitigate the effect of COVID-19 on our in-school model. The partnership with our parents is even more important now, as we are counting on your trust to keep your children home if they are not feeling well and maintaining a healthy home, as it keeps our teachers and staff safe and healthy and keeps our kids in school. We need your trust to know that your child is our uppermost concern and every decision is with their best interest in mind. Our motto this year is Gam Zu Latova. This too is for the good. Yes, it will be challenging. Yes, it might be difficult, but ultimately it's up to us how we face it. If we do it with a smile, with compassion, with understanding, there's nothing that can stand in our way. Thank you for listening, submitting your questions, and for taking this leap with us into this unprecedented, historical new school year.